Okay, next episode was How to Rock a Part-Time Job. And another episode that stunk. But at the same time, had a couple parts I liked. Very minuscule parts. The thing is, you'd think that an episode that revolves around... Well, actually, no episode revolves around anybody but Casey. There's episodes that revolve around Casey's interplay and dynamic with somebody. Like with a prank, it was Casey and Xander. With an election, it was Casey and Kevin. Kevin has a crush on her, right? I know that's abundantly clear. And that's probably what David M. Israel was aiming for, to pair them together. Though he hints toward pairing Molly and Kevin together as well. But he probably didn't follow... I don't think he followed through on that as strongly as he did with Casey and Kevin. And then a birthday party. Casey and Nelson. A secret agent. Casey and Stevie. And here we are with Casey and Stevie again. So Casey's been using the emergency credit card to buy... basically to shop. And so for now her mother wants her to pay it off. And Casey reluctantly agrees to do so. So she reluctantly accepts a job working at Danny Mango's, the smoothie shop Stevie works at, for the same price. And at the same time, she finds out that Stevie's able to give out free smoothies, not realizing it's only one free smoothie a day. Or it's just the smoothie she is allowed. And so then Casey ends up, to impress everybody, and she doesn't want to be there, it's abundantly clear, as she doesn't want anybody who knows her to see her working there. She decides to start giving out free smoothies to everybody so as to impress them, except for Molly, because Molly kind of squeezed a bunch of free smoothies out of her earlier, because it's a little bit of an interesting play to doing the 100% satisfied customer thing, but it didn't really have all that much substance to it other than that. But it ends up backfiring, as Stevie makes abundantly clear. She gets only one free smoothie a day, and, well, it's her choice as to whether or not to give it up. At the same time as that, it's one. It's always just one a day. And so then the manager shows up, Danny Mango, to discover that nobody's paid, even though everybody's gotten something. So they both end up fired as a result of that. And Casey, realizing the error of her ways, how she wrecked Stevie's job because she was being selfish again, as she always is, has realized she needs to make it up. So she persuades Mango to give her job as a mascot so as to help her pay off him. And at the same time as that, maybe eventually pay off her mom too. It's not too bad. It's not as bad as... not anywhere near as bad as A Messy Bet or A Lunch Table was. But it's not very smartly constructed. Not a very smartly constructed episode. And it's very obvious. And the subplots, too, they stink. One a little more than the other. The one with Nelson and Kevin just totally sucks. With them each being mascots for a pizza place and a burger place respectively, and then constantly bickering about where they'll each give away their coupons. The characters I don't find all that fascinating, so putting them in a situation like this, which I don't find fascinating either, it's just not gonna work at all. although I admit the pizza so good you'd think you'd die and go to heaven. Uh, that man admits his food could kill you. It's amusing and it's clever, but at the same time, it's the circumstances surrounding it are so irritating that it's just not worth it. Or it's not completely worth it. It's worth it to remember it, but not worth it to experience it. And then the subplot involving an abrasive security guard constantly trying to scare Xander away from the mall from playing his guitar because he doesn't want to have a job working for the man. He just wants to make the money on his own by performing with his guitar. Question: yeah, sure, you can perform inside, and you'll be more noticed again. You could easily perform outside too, and you'd still get noticed. Maybe you'd make less money, but then you wouldn't be in the mall, and you wouldn't be getting the complaints from the security guard. I don't really know what else to say about that. Let's just say it's a little more tolerable than the Nelson and Kevin plot line, because that also as well doesn't really end up going anywhere in the end. They get fired from the places. They each end up taking each other's jobs, and then they end up fighting on how each one should portray the other's former job. And that's, as well as like maybe fighting again against another like turf war. So a lot of this episode doesn't work because of Casey. A lot of this, probably the majority of this episode doesn't work because of the way Casey's acting, and it doesn't really work either with. Doesn't work at all with Nelson and Kevin's. There are just too many bad factors to count. It's one you can skip it. You don't need to sit through it. It ends up kind of coming back later on, but not in a big way. I'll get to that soon enough, though. So you'll need to stay tuned for that one. Toodaloo!